have cannot take part right now. So Hare Krishna. If everybody can please mute themselves, except for Navina Nirada Prabhu, so that we don't have disturbing noises in the background. Very happy to see so many of you. If you can, please also switch on your cameras so it becomes a little bit more personal. That's what we always strive for, to become more personal. So can try also in our online meetings, and it's also encouraging for the speaker. So today we have His Grace Navina Nirada Prabhu with us, and he will share a little bit about his exceptional history and experiences on book distribution. As probably all of us are aware, he's a person who doesn't need so much introduction, but still, for the sake of it, I would like to say some words. Navina Nirada Prabhu joined ISKCON in 1984 in Zurich. So that means he's been in the movement for a long time, 31 years, if I'm correct. No, 37 years. Wow, long time. And he was 15 back then when he joined, and right from the beginning, I believe, he went out on book distribution. And so ever since, he has been distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, and thus has a lot of experience with book distribution. And so we thought it very befitting to have him with us for today's first class on book distribution. Damodar Prasad Prabhu and myself also, we were thinking of reviving a little bit the book distribution spirit here in the Zurich Yatra. And I'm very grateful to Damodar Prasad Prabhu that he is taking a lot of initiative in this way and encourages the devotees and gives us the facilities to do so. And so, without further ado, I think I will hand over to Navina Nirada Prabhu, who will share a little bit about how book distribution is a means of making spiritual advancement. And also, we will have the opportunity to ask some questions in the end. So please, if you have anything to share, to ask, don't hesitate. And in the end, we can address Navina Nirada Prabhu. So please, Prabhu, stage
Hare Krishna.
yours. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupagamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So it's my great honor and fortune to be in all of your association. Today's the first day of Kartik, and it is a very good day to remember Krishna. Krishna performed his beautiful pastimes in Vrindavan, and normally in this time of the year, many of us are in Vrindavan or trying to go to Vrindavan. So it is only befitting that we remind ourselves of Krishna's pastimes that he performed during this time, like the lifting of the Govardhan hill and getting bound with the ropes of Mother Yasoda's loving affection, breaking the butter pots and feeding the butter to the monkeys, and many other of these beautiful pastimes that are taking place in this time of Kartik. It is also the time where devotees try to take on a little bit of extra effort and austerity to please Krishna, because Kartik is a very auspicious time to make a special offering. And what is it that we can truly offer Krishna? Because we really have not much to offer. I mean, speaking from myself. So, but if we offer a little bit of our time, our effort, and our dedication, our blood, sweat, and tears, for Krishna's pleasure, then that will be satisfying. That will be attractive for Krishna. So we're all trying to capture Krishna's attention. There's two policemen going down the streets in Delhi, and one is telling the other, you know, it's really bad. We're worshiping a thief. We're worshiping a person who is a thief. He's stealing stuff. And we're policemen. We're representing the law, the government. So that's really not good. And the other one looked at him and said, look, you have to see the bigger perspective. Actually, Krishna, he's stealing all the living entities' hearts. So that's perfectly all right. Now, you're asking me to give a little intro. Well, I'm just a regular kid. I come from Winterthur, which is an industrial town just outside of Zurich. Average middle-class family. Like most of Switzerland, just an ordinary person. And in my boarding school in the Alps, I got in contact with Krishna consciousness. One of my friends had visited the Zurich temple, and in just one night stay, the devotees preached to him all night, and and he brought the message back to the boarding school. And even though he was still smoking pot and having very long hair, every day before the meals, we were in a big hall sharing a meals with about 350 students and teachers. There are devotees waiting for what? To enter the meeting. So somebody should admit them to the meeting, whoever that somebody is. All right. So he was praying, and it was quite unusual because nobody else was doing that. So I thought he was unique. So I talked to him. He showed me the Bhagavad Gita. I asked him if I can have it. He said no. And but lucky I found First Canto Part 1 in the library of our school. And I started reading that. And then I went to the Zurich temple. And the devotees were very kind. They were very magnanimous. I remember Acharya Ratna Prabhu, he gave me my first beads, and he said, this is what we do. This is how you chant. And he said, you start with 4 rounds. And I took to it like a fish to water. So this Sankirtan process is the Yuga Dharma. It is what works. In other ages, other things work: meditation, temple worship, fire sacrifice. Yet in this age of Kali, we are very unfortunate and we are very fortunate at the same time. Kali doshani de rajanasti hekoma mahad gunat kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha parambrajet. This verse says that the age of Kali is an ocean of faults. Have you ever observed some faults, some things that don't work? It happens, right? Even in beautiful Zurich, some things just don't work. Yet, even though it's an ocean of faults, there is one good quality. What is that good quality? That simply by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you can achieve the topmost perfection. Now, I was just reading a couple of days ago in Chaitanya Bhagavat that there was a devotee called Tapan Mishra. And he was a learned, he was an educated Brahmin, but he did not know the goal of life nor the means how to attain it. And I always found that a little puzzling. How can you be educated and not know the goal nor the way how to get there? But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his purport explains that because Tapan Mishra was chanting his Krishna mantra silently for himself. So he was what you could call a spiritual egoist, somebody who's just concerned about his own deliverance. He said, I got my mantra, I got my God, I got my guru, and I'm fine. But because he did not engage in Sankirtan, he did not meet other devotees and make plans how to propagate, how to share this with others, he still didn't know the goal nor the means how to get there. So these stories are not just nice stories, but they're actually there to remind us that the same thing or a similar thing can happen to all of us. I'm sure I have found myself in a similar situation where I said, hey, I got my guru, I got my deity, I got my mantra, but still I'm not feeling the love, as they say in California. All right. Like my hairs are not standing on end in ecstasy. I'm not rolling on the ground. I'm not really feeling excited in Krishna consciousness. In fact, quite the contrary. Now, why could that possibly be? Is the process not working? No, the process is working just fine. But maybe I'm not applying myself to the process in the proper way. I, again, fall under the spell of the false ego, where I think in terms of I, me, and mine. What is my position? Oh, I'm the temple president now, or I'm the Sankirtan leader now, or I'm the whatever in charge. And because of that upadi, because of that false designation, that false sense of self, again, something is aparada. It means what brings us away from Radha. Radha or Radharani, Aradhanam, is the one who engages everyone in Krishna service, and aparada or offense is what separates us from Krishna service. So if you have misconception about our own identity, that will separate us from Krishna and from Krishna's service. Even though we may be living in a temple, we may be externally engaging in activities of devotional service. If in my heart and my mind, I am having a separatist mentality, then I will not truly get the full benefit of this process. So I'm just going to tell you a couple of stories and keep it light and sweet and see where we go with this, because it's still early in the day. And yeah, so I'm very happy to see so many new faces and so many old friends. It's been quite an exciting time. Yeah, I don't want to go too much biography. Stories is to illustrate certain points, certain lessons. People like to learn through stories, because if you just give them philosophy, very few can catch it or accept it. So in the Bhagavatam and in our scriptures, we have a lot of stories, but they're there to illustrate very pertinent, very important points, messages. As I was telling the story of Tapan Mishra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back then, he told him that you should engage in Sankirtan. You should not just chant your mantra for yourself, but you should find others and collaborate with them to share this message. And then Tapan Mishra said, I just want to stay with you. I just want to be with you. And Mahaprabhu sent him away. He sent him to Kashi, to Varanasi, and he said, you go there and you wait for me and you prepare a place. I will come. I have a preaching mission in Varanasi. So that's what Guru does. He keeps us for a while at his lotus feet, and then he says, okay, now you go, and gives us a mission. And right now we're just in preparing mode. So if you haven't gotten your marching orders, if you haven't gotten the the order to go and do something, it means probably we're not yet ready. We're still in the preliminary stages. We're still like a little wet behind the ears. So we have to grow up. And then when we get more mature, more solid in our practice, usually we get a mission. So the mission of Srila Prabhupada is very broad. It's not just to distribute a few books, but it is, as Prabhupada in his own words put it, I want to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere at once. So that's a pretty big mission, right? That includes the whole world and includes all of us. So to find our own place, our own mission inside the vision of Prabhupada, this is a great gift. So devotional service, bhakti is absolute. There are the 9 different forms of devotional practice: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Parasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. From hearing and chanting to remembering, etc., to full surrender to Krishna. Now, the process of Sankirtan means Samyak Kirtan. It means combined congregational chanting and distribution of the holy name. And we do that by going out and chanting Harinam, by distributing books, and by distributing prasad. If you can do these 3 things together, you get what's called nuclear fusion. You can blow everybody out of the water. People get mesmerized. They just become seriously affected by the potency of this process. I just heard this beautiful story that I'd like to share with you from a dear friend of mine, Sarvatma Prabhu, who was in the early 1980s a brahmachari in Buenos Aires, and his guru was sick in America. And his guru asked him to come and serve him.
Oh my god, that's weten met hem. That is so cool.
So he went to the American embassy in Buenos Aires to apply for his American visa. And he went in dhoti and kurta, and he got rejected. So the next day he went again in pant and shirt. And no, the other way around. Okay. So the first day he went in pant and shirt like a regular citizen, and he got rejected. So then the next day he went in dhoti and kurta. And I just got distracted by that sound, sorry. I lost my chain of thought. Sound is powerful. So when he was there, he demanded to speak to the ambassador, the Botschafter, at the embassy in Buenos Aires. And the lady came. She was a young lady, and she asked him, what would you like? And he said, yesterday, one of your less intelligent bureaucrats rejected my visa. And little did he know that in our movement, we live to serve the spiritual master. So my guru is in America and he's sick. He needs my help. I've traveled with him all over Latin America, and I can help him to get his health back. So I need to go there to serve him. And she said, well, you're not going to go there and stay there and get a job? He said, no, we're missionaries. We just travel and preach and always on the move. So she paused for a while and looked at him. It's called the moment of truth, you know, when you don't know, like the person holds the book in the hand and they look at you and you don't know what's going to happen, right? You know that moment when it's like that little moment of pin drop silence, of anxiety. So after a while, she said, okay, I believe you. I'll give you the visa. And then as she got up from the chair, she leaned over and she said under her breath, quietly, because there is Marines and police and diplomats. She's the top dog. She's the top official of the United States in Argentina, Buenos Aires embassy. So she leans over and she says, I read Prabhupada's Gita. And then he takes out a Prabhupada Lilamrita and he slides the book to her and he gets his visa and leaves. Now you may ask yourself, why did she ask all these questions if she knows that he's a devotee? She knows that he's legit, that he's doing the right thing. Why do people look at us sometimes critically and they have questions and they challenge us? Why? They want to make sure that we are who we say we are. And how do they know? Krishna is in their heart. Krishna will tell them. It's the same Krishna that's in your heart, that's in their heart. And they will tell them, yes, this person is sincere. Give him the donation. Sometimes they look at the book, they look at you, they look at the book, they look at you. And if the two don't match, they say, no, go, take it back. I want it, but I won't take it from you. Ooh, ouch. That hurts, right? If people say, I'm interested, but I don't like you. So we have to be authentic. And that authenticity comes from sincere sadhana, that we actually do our homework. We get up in the morning, we chant our rounds, we follow the program, we don't eat prasad, we engage ourselves in the 9 practices of devotional service. So we're not just externally making a show, but we're actually internally having this prayerful mood. Like Mother Yasoda, I want to tie Krishna up with my loving affection. Why? Because he's a naughty boy. He's a little rascal, and he's constantly playing tricks. He's constantly trying to evade my attempts. So how can we capture Krishna in our heart of hearts? Only through the loving devotion. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santak sadaiva hridayeshu vilakvayantiye yam shyama sundaram achinte gunak swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. You can only see Krishna through the eyes of love. Otherwise, you may think, oh, Krishna is some little rascal, some womanizer, this, that, the other thing. You won't get who Krishna really is unless you have the eyes of devotion. So, lange Rede, kurzer Sinn, Krishna has given you the best country in the world, Switzerland, and you have a very fertile ground. You can distribute books, prasadam, the holy name, without pretty much any obstruction. It's not like you're in Bangladesh or you're in China or in Korea or in North Korea or some other place. You're just in Central Europe where pretty much anything goes. Now, how eager are we to actually take part in Sankirtan? Or do we think, oh, we got a couple of temples, we have a few members, Mahaprashadam is good, and I got warm socks, and life is fine, So growth only happens in stretch zone. Growth, only happens when there's actually some endeavor. And it usually happens on the periphery, not in the core. The core is always more concerned about self-preservation. So don't look for the establishment, for the institution to make innovation, to make changes, to make a move. It's on the periphery, on the outside, that the move happens. A week ago, I was up in Sacramento, the capital of California, at University of Davis, and we had a student gathering with 40 students who were chanting and dancing and taking prasadam. And it is organized just by some youngsters, by some young people. Same in Boulder, Colorado, same in countless cities. So start student gatherings, start youth gatherings wherever you are, and introduce the youth, the younger section of society, to the practices of Krishna consciousness. People who have not yet given up on life and on themselves, who still want to make a difference, who want to be part of the positive solution, of the way forward. Me personally, I'm going out to the universities almost every day and speaking to students, giving them books, answering their questions, and trying to guide them as much as possible in taking up the practice of spiritual life. For me, this is what has made a difference in my life. Somebody introduced me to Krishna consciousness in my school. So I try to do the same to others, because sharing means caring. And how to do that? Well, you use your own God-given intelligence. Krishna has given us a little bit of free will and a little bit of ingenuity, that, special intelligence that we can avail ourselves of if we choose to. Or we can just crawl back under the rock or under our pillow and say, no, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm fine. Everything's perfect. And then our exposure and our realization will at best stay superficial. So in the Garuda Purana, it says that you can only achieve perfection by association with pure devotees. And if you do not share compassion, kindness with people who are less fortunate than you, then you will lead a superficial life. So we should not live a superficial life. We should live a life of substance, a life of integrity. And that means, yes, taking on a little bit of tapasya. This is required. Prahlad Maharaj tells his classmates, and they're all 5-year-old kids, Kaumara pragyo dharman bhagavataniha durlabha manushya janma tadabhya dhruvamartadam, and all the other beautiful verses that I'm sure you're aware of, that you should take up spiritual life when you're young. Or as Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra says, Tato Brahma Jigyasa, now is the time to inquire. Now, when is now? Now is now, okay? It's not mañana, tomorrow. It's not 10 years from now, or when I'm old, when my teeth fall out, but it's now. Every day I go down to the van to load my books, and there's an elderly Chinese gentleman with his cane and his mask who walks by, and he looks like he's going to fall over and die any moment. So you're not gonna make it when you're old, because maybe you're not fully there physically and mentally. So we should take up this opportunity while we're young. Now, some of us are already middle-aged, some are past middle age, and some of you are still pretty youthful. So never think that, oh, what is the use? What's the benefit if I do this? The benefit is tremendous. It's unbelievable. Not only will you be able to improve yourself and your own life, but you can change countless people's lives. If you're not happy with the way the world's going, if you're not happy the way the country is going, if you're not happy the way your own life is going, just pick up the Bhagavatam and actually read a verse and then try to reflect, what does it mean? What is Krishna trying to tell me here? And then how can I communicate this message to others? Like this beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam, Yatridyante katam rishtas Krishnaya prashamoyata nirvairam yatra bhuteshu nodvega yatra kaschana. That wherever and whenever you hear the Bhagavatam, fear, anxiety, and material hankerings disappear. They just get eradicated, at least while you're hearing the Bhagavatam. Have you ever had a problem? I mean, it's kind of a rhetorical question, right? Anybody has problems out there? No, only I'm having problems. Okay, sometimes I have problems. So then I have a choice. Either I start chewing on that problem till I go crazy, or I just open the Bhagavatam. And have you ever noticed how Prabhupada answers your questions right there in the Bhagavatam? He gives you the answer. He gives you the direction. And if we go out and we actually share this message, you will notice that people have been waiting for this. They've been longing for this. They're leading boring lives, lives of just humdrum self-destruction. And they're waiting for a positive alternative. They're looking forward. I'm at the college campuses almost every day, and I ask students, so what's the biggest challenge? Is it patience, expectations, or just the mind, or is it anxiety? And most people say anxiety. They're in anxiety about the future, the anxiety about their life, the state of the world. So to become free from anxiety, to truly become peaceful, means that we are actually happy in Krishna consciousness. And it's not something you can fake. I mean, you can put on a nice shirt and you can smile at people, but people will feel, they will sense if you're not there, if you're actually paining at heart. So our first and foremost duty is to chant Hare Krishna and be miserable, right? Isn't it that what Prabhupada said? Chant Hare Krishna and be depressed, or be cynical, or be anxious? No, he said chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So if we're actually authentic, if we're actually practicing Krishna consciousness, naturally this joy, this happiness should arise in our heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Bhakti Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Korya Udoy. Through this uncovering process, our original nature, our original state, we're children of eternity. We're parts and parcels of Krishna. We're Satchidananda. If you may forget anything else in the universe, but if you remember, I'm eternal. You know, once you bend your mind around infinity, you don't stress the little stuff, because you know, I'm eternal, man. I got forever, you know? And Chit, I'm knowledgeable. I'm actually wise. The Jiva is smart. And Ananda, I'm blissful. That's my birthright. That's money in the bank. You just remember those three things, and you will never suffer again another day in your life. Okay? But because we're small, we tend to forget these things. That's why we need to hear from the right source for a very long time. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We have to hear every day. It's not like, oh, I heard yesterday, or I heard a year ago, or I heard 10 years ago. No, I need to hear today. I want to know, what did you read today? So these Prabhupada moments where we meet Prabhupada on the street and in the Bhagavatam, they're very precious. They're a requirement. It's not just that we do a little festival of flowers and we say a few nice words on appearance and disappearance days. We should meet. We should be in communion with our spiritual teachers on a regular basis. Srila Prabhupada said, my Gurudev has left this world many decades ago, but there is not a moment where I do not feel him standing right behind me, guiding me, looking over my shoulder, empowering me, giving me benevolent guidance. That's very tight. Bhakti is the most congenial form of intimacy. If you want to be intimate, if you want to be close, if you want to feel connection with Guru and Krishna, it's through this process of bhakti. Especially when we take on a little bit of the burden of the mission of the Guru, and we say, okay, I'm not just going to hang on, but I'm actually going to try to help alleviate some of your troubles And I'm trying to do my bit to push forward this mission. Then the mercy starts to flow, the empowerment starts to flow. As my older brother Harinamananda always says, just step out of the center. Just get out of the center and let Krishna do the magic. Don't try to see yourself as the center of attention, as the center of the universe, because then things get stuck. Then things get very difficult. So a lot can be said. Sankirtan is the magic, and we all want to experience the magic. We all want to see these miracles. I was up in northern Michigan in a small town called Sheboygan on a Walmart parking lot, which is the equivalent of Migros Centrum. And I approached a man with his teenage son, and as the man saw me coming to him with a stack of books, he said, "Prabhupada is my favorite author." And his son looked at him like, "Dad, who is that? What are you talking about?" And he had some explaining to do. But he happily took a few books, and I gave him some beads and Prabhupada's movie. And he had just read Prabhupada's books, and he was very touched. He really felt that was an adequate response. And for me, it was like, yeah, thank you. It made it worthwhile driving, 20,000 kilometers to meet you. So the people are out there, and they're looking for substance, because in their heart of hearts, they know there's more to it than they're telling us. There's more to it than just work and die. There's more to it than just the rat race. I'm actually something greater, something bigger, something more profound than what they're trying to sell me. So people have this inkling, this interest, this underlying sensibility. We just have to fan that spark and give them as much as they can take. Some people can take a smile. Some people can take some kind words. Some people can take a book. Some people can take more. It all depends. One time, I was going door to door in Canton Aargau, in some very conservative, upscale neighborhood where there was big houses, big fences, and big dogs. If you heard this story before, please bear with me. Old people like to tell stories. So, and there was a housewife, and she bought 3 books. And at the end, she said, "My nephew has been to India." And I said, "Really? Can you give me his number?" And she gave me his number, and I called him. And the next Sunday, he showed up with his friend at the temple in Zurich. And they both had long hairs and red eyes because they just smoked ganja, hashish, weed. And they were a little proud because they were rich kids from Walchwil, Zug. And they said, "We already know everything. We've been to India, we know all this stuff." But me, I was Bhakta Nico. And Bhakta Nico did not take no for an answer. I was happy-go-lucky Bhakta. So I gave them the grand tour of the temple. I showed them the museum, the deities. I gave them prasadam. And then I showed them the Bhagavatam. And they said, "Okay, we take it, pack it." And they put down 3 large bills on the table, and they left. And for a long time, we didn't hear from them. They showed up maybe once every 2nd or 3rd month for a Sunday feast, till one fine day, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj showed up and gave the Sunday feast class. And they were just blown out of the water. They were just completely shocked and mesmerized because they realized, this is our guru. We have to surrender. We got to get serious. We got to get out of Maya. And the rest is history. That was Murari and Balaram. So, and they started having preaching programs in their homes in Walchwil. They had a center there. And from that center, maybe, 15, 20 people got initiated by Maharaj, and many people started practicing and chanting. So the potency is there. People are out there. They're looking. It's a question, where are we? Are we making ourselves available? Are we ready to answer people's questions? Are we ready to take a little bit of neglect and critical and sometimes pointed? People may not always respond favorably. It's to be expected. because people are confused. When you're working in a hospital or in a mental asylum, some of the patients, they will insult you. Some of them may spit at you. They may try to hit you. They may say stupid stuff. And you just have to take it. You have to understand these people are not 100%. They're not in their right mind. Okay. Once you know that and you're trained, then you don't take offense. You don't get injured. You just know how to operate. So that's why it's important that devotees who go out, they are a little bit educated about what's going on out there. So they don't become confused when people will say, you know, I love you, I want to marry you, or I want to kill you, or get off my planet, or all this stuff that may happen. You don't get impressed or frightened by that. You know, it's just another day in paradise. It's just another day, you know, doing my service. So that's why it's important that we have seminars and classes. Now we have online courses that are available on, we have the book distribution and the leadership course on Udemy. They're for free. You can all just go through the course and take it. Of course, some of you were born perfect, so they don't need to take any courses or classes. They already know it all because they're born in the Holy Land of Switzerland. But for the majority of us, we learn. And sometimes we learn through the school of hard knocks. But I got news for you. I'm turning 53 in a few weeks. You don't live long enough to make all the mistakes in the world. That's why we should pay attention to others who already made the mistakes and pay the price. And they can tell you, okay, this doesn't work. All right, got it? It's stupid. I tried it 10 times. It doesn't work. So don't do it. You can make your own mistakes, but don't make the same mistakes that others already did. So we have to pay the price of application to get realization, and realization brings transformation. Otherwise, it just stays information. People can download data, they can read books online. Why would they want to listen to you? Because you are a practitioner. You are a person who actually applies himself to this process. I was in New Orleans in the French Quarter, and there was one young girl. She was jogging with her big bulldog, and she looked pretty, and she had all the right clothes on. But when she stopped jogging, she was catching her breath. And I thought, let me talk to her, because there's no one else around. So not the most likely candidate, right? So I showed her the books. And as I usually do, I ask people, so what's your biggest challenge? Patience, anxiety, or just the mind? And she just started crying. She just completely lost it. And she said, my fiancé, mein Verlobter, he cheated on me and he ran off with another girl. And I'm completely depressed, but I became vegetarian and I'm going to take up spiritual practice because I'm sick and tired and I'm fed up. And I said, well, girl, that's a good start. You know, actually, there's nothing wrong with you. Just keep going, you know. And she took a stack of books and she was really happy to meet me. So the point I'm trying to make is that everybody's looking for Krishna. They just look in the wrong places for the most part. People think they'll find it on Amazon, or they'll find it somewhere. But Krishna is there. Where is he? He's in your heart. You have to look inside. Krishna is there. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudani maya. Krishna is there. He's guiding us, giving us knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So this highest form of intimacy is called Sankirtan Yoga. And once you experience that intimacy, there's nothing that actually tops that experience. That's why even old folks like Bhaktalabhya and myself still try to engage in Sankirtan, in preaching, in sharing this message with others, because it's very, very congenial. It's very enjoyable, much more than even just taking care of yourself. And so these are some reflection that I wanted to share with you. And we got plenty of time for questions, answers, maybe, and other types of topics that might be interesting to you. I know many of you are working jobs or going to school. You may not have that much time in the world to do this full time, but my humble suggestion to all of you is just carry a few books with you wherever you go. First of all, have good sadhana. Get up early and chant your rounds before you check your messages, okay? If you want to lead a good life, chant your rounds before you switch on your phone, all right? If you want to lead a miserable life, check your messages while you're in bed, okay? That's a sure formula for depression. So chant your rounds before you switch on your phone and before breakfast. And then read Prabhupada's books every day. Read a few verses or a few hours, as much as you can, and drink in this nectar deeply. And then chew on that. Meditate on what Prabhupada is trying to tell me here. And how can I communicate that throughout the day? How can I be part of the solution rather than be part of the problem? And then carry books with you. So whenever somebody sees you and says, why are you so different? Why are you not getting angry? Why are you not doing all the stupid stuff that everybody else is doing? Then you just give them a book. And in this way, I guarantee you, money back guarantee from this seminar, you can distribute 5 or 10 books every single day without even trying, without even going on Sankirtan, just by carrying books with you, okay? You may be at the post office, at the bank, at the shop. Just give people books and you'll be surprised. I met a man in Palo Alto in Facebook Town last Friday. And I showed him the book and he said, Prabhupada was at my grandfather's home in Hyderabad. And he pulled out his wallet and he gave me $100 right there. Because Prabhupada came and visited his grandfather's home. So he had that experience. So you meet people who had already gotten some spiritual guidance and awakening, and now meeting you has just confirmed them on their path and is inspiring not only them, but inspiring you in your own practice. That's why we do Sankirtan. That's why we go out. It's not because we got nothing better to do or because we need the money or we need to impress somebody, because all those reasons are on the long run not going to do it. They're not what's going to get you there. You have to find your own sustainable reasons why you want to do what you're doing. So that's your homework for this week, my dear friends. Write down why you want to go on Sankirtan. Find your 108 reasons, or at least your 3 top reasons why you want to do this. And it got to be you, because people are going to ask you, why are you doing this? And then you got to tell them the truth. You can't just repeat something theoretical. They want to know, what does it mean for you? What's your purpose? What drives you? What makes you you? Of course, you can tell people, we're coming from over here and we're going over there, take this and give me some money. It works for some time, for some people. But on the long run, it doesn't work. Why? Because your own mind will start feeling insulted and will say, hey, you stupid, what are you doing here? You're wasting your life. Get a life. Do something different. Make money. Enjoy. So unless you have a sense of mission, a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, you won't be able to carry on. You won't be able to sustain. That's why it's important that we read these books. That's why Vaisheshika Prabhu says that Sankirtan is the best sadhana, because sadhana means spiritual practice. So spiritual practice is something that we do every day, not just once in a blue moon, but we do it every day. So every day, try to show kindness to at least 3 people. Give them a book, give them prasadam, give them some kind words, give them some appreciation. And I guarantee you, people will pay you back in the same currency. They will just return the favor. I have a friend who's distributing books in Shanghai, China, the biggest train station of the world. Millions of people going through there. It's like an anthill. I was there. It's crazy. It's nuts. It makes Zürich Hauptbahnhof look like Bahnhof Wiedikon. You know, it's like it's insane how many people go through that place, and it's highly controlled. There's cameras everywhere, security, police, military. He has been arrested countless times and interrogated, yet he goes on to distribute books there. And one man asked him, what are you trying to do? And he told him that he's trying to help people by sharing this ancient knowledge, this wisdom with them. And he would like to make this knowledge available to all of China. And the man looked at the books, he opened the books, he started reading a little bit. And after a while, he pulled out a stack of money and he gave him $50,000. And he sponsored 100 sets to be put in the libraries in China. And my friend, he sent the sets to all the major universities and libraries, and he got pictures of the librarians with the sets. And he gave him receipts of all the shipping and everything. And the man was so impressed by his sincerity that he sponsored another 700 sets. He said 100 sets for Hong Kong, 100 sets for Taiwan. And he gave him $400,000 or francs, $500,000 practically, just to sponsor sets. Why? Because he saw this person is not just trying to make a buck. He's not just trying to kill time, but he's got a mission that's bigger than anyone he ever met in his life. There's a saying that if you got 1 year time, grow rice. If you got 10 years time, grow coconuts or olives. And if you have 100 years time, you grow people. And Prabhupada stayed up every night and wrote 6 pages to write the law books, the textbooks for the next 10,000 years. That was the vision, the time scale of Prabhupada. Now you may tell yourself, what's this crazy guy in San Jose rapping about? He's not even here, you know? What does he know about our problems here in Switzerland? There's many generations of devotees who come and go, but to plant seeds whose fruits you will never taste is the sweetest type of activity that you can imagine. Even business MBA coaches are adopting concepts like Nishkam Karma Yoga. You know, have you ever heard that? Nishkam Karma Yoga, Bhagavad Gita. You have a right to perform your actions, but not to taste the fruits of it. Have you ever heard that one before? They're preaching that kind of stuff straight from the Bhagavad Gita, and they're making money out of Krishna's words. So how about that? You're planting trees whose fruits you will never see and never taste, but that's the sweetest activity that you can do. The 9th chapter of Ali Lila is the Lord Chaitanya, the gardener, and the desire tree of devotional service. So please read the 9th chapter of the Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay, that's your homework. It's not very long. It's really sweet. There's a lot of nectar in there. And bend your mind around that. How can I become part of that gardener activity? How can I be part of that? And the best fertilizer is the shadow of the gardener. The beste Dünger ist der Schatten des Gärtners. So go in your garden daily and spend time with the plants. Water them. Make yourself available. Take contacts, cultivate people, invite them to your gatherings, to your center, answer their questions, and you'll be surprised. People will actually take up bhakti. This Sunday, I went up to Bhakti SF, the little storefront that we opened 5 years ago in San Francisco. I mean, it took 5 years, but it's been there a few years. So, and one boy who got in the book somewhere in California at a university, we called him and we invited him, and he showed up, and he was so eager to take up the practice of bhakti. So make that special effort, that little extra endeavor to actually follow up with people and cultivate them. And you will see that it will make a huge difference in their lives, as it has made a difference in our lives. I started reading the Gita and the Bhagavatam. I had a lot of questions. I wrote them down, and there was 3 people, Gauralila, Rachavidya, and Atmatattva. I could call them. They were at the temple. They would answer all my questions. So I'm grateful, eternally indebted to them, because they actually helped me to grow in my bhakti. So to show gratitude means to pay it forward to the next level, to the next people who are asking us for guidance. But that means we have to know the answers. We can't be just like, duh, what, really? We have to do our homework. And that means we actually read attentively, not just turning pages, not just ticking off boxes, not just doing things mechanically, but we actually trying to understand what's Krishna, what's Prabhupada trying to communicate here? What's his message to me? What's the impact? What does it mean for me in my life? And then you'll actually get some traction. You actually get some grit. You actually go somewhere in life. Otherwise, you may just be spinning your wheels, but you're not really going anywhere. You're just making noise. You know, like the boys who run their motorcycles around the block, you know, ring, 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 ring. But there's no real benefit to the whole affair. So again, Krishna has given you the best place. Use it or lose it. It's our choice what we make of it. There's so many good schools. There's so many quality caliber people. It's just a matter of us finding a way, finding a language to communicate this message to them. And that will become revealed to you by the empowerment of Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara through our sincere bhakti practice. Hari Om Tat Sat. Any questions or reflections? I'm just working up an appetite because I'm heading out to the university in a few minutes to distribute books. So
thank you, Prabhu. This is really very inspiring. You definitely brought a little bit of Californian sun into Switzerland, to the dark night of Switzerland here.
Hey, the sun is out there. It's just that I'm standing in the way, you know. I'm just blocking. I'm trying to block the sun, but that's not really possible. So don't get discouraged by my presumptuousness, by my arrogance. And yeah, here in America, you have to be a little louder and a little more expressive and a little more colorful than in Switzerland, where people will feel frightened if you start talking with your hands and speaking very loud. So you just have to know who is your audience. So understand your audience. Krishna will guide you and communicate the message in a way that's relatable, relevant, and impactful. You can write that down. Relatable, relevant, and impactful. Be nice. Needs, interests, concerns, and expectations. Those are the four things you have to address. Nice. Needs, interests, concerns, and expectations. If you be nice, people will eat out of the palm of your hand. Okay?
We were
all right.
You gave us some homework, but now the list is stacking up. We have
that's supposed to be like that because, you know, we should do this every 10 years. So in this way, we keep the momentum going. And I get to see the new generation of Swiss devotees. So it's nice to see that you're all there. Thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. I know it's not easy. There's a lot of responsibility and a lot of seva. And I'm truly grateful and astounded by the magnificence of the deities and the wonderful festivals that you're putting on. And I hope that you continue the legacy and spread Krishna consciousness far and wide in that country. Yeah, the best years are yet to come. Just don't get in the way, okay? Any questions or reflections? I think we still got a few minutes.
Yes, so maybe just the way we can do it, if we can hold up our hand, I think that's possible, and then you can unmute yourself and speak. In this way, we can make it a little bit civilized. So if anybody has a comment or question, please raise your hand, and I can pick you and you can say something. Is that okay? Yes, Damodar Prashant.
Hare Krishna, Navina Nirada Prabhu. Thank you for your time and your inspiring lecture. I just wanted to ask, we have a WhatsApp group now where we have different devotees who are interested in book distribution. And you mentioned this Udemy course. Mm-hmm. Could you send me the link for that so I can forward it to that group?
Yeah, I mean, it's highly confidential, but since you're asking, I will send it to you. You know, it's the same course that actually became mandatory like 25 years ago. So anyway, I'll send it to you and you can share it.
What do you mean mandatory course?
It means anybody who actually does Sankirtan is supposed to have taken that course.
Okay.
It's like if you were to go and flip burgers for McDonald's. I mean, I'm not advising you to do that, but if you were to do that, they will send you to the McDonald's University, where for 2 or 3 days, they will teach you the science of how to flip burgers, you know? So if you go out and you share Krishna consciousness, you should actually know how to deal with people. Otherwise, it may be a little frightening. It may be a little difficult. Like most of us, we were just thrown out into the deep sea. And yeah, so those courses are available, and you can also have regular gatherings amongst yourself. Yes, we'll do. Okay, Yamuna is there. And then I think Mike also had his hand up.
Haribol, ist es auch gut, wenn ich Deutsch rede? Weil,
Ironisch ist alles gut.
okay, danke vielmals. Also mein Problem ist ein bisschen, dass ich wie so Angst habe, dass wenn man den Menschen halt von Krishna erzählt, wo ja, also wie eigentlich nicht antastbar ist, dass sie halt einfach so, also in Anführungszeichen falsch reagieren. Und das verletzt mich irgendwie mega, wenn Menschen halt einfach so das lächerlich finden oder halt einfach ja, das nicht annehmen. So, also, ja, und dann habe ich halt einfach wie so im Allgemeinen Angst, dass das passiert, dass die sich halt falsch verhalten und ja, das ist ja auch nicht gut für sie selber. Und dann habe ich halt damals immer so gefunden, ja, dann lasse ich es lieber. Weil es steht ja, dass dass Menschen, die nicht glauben, eigentlich nicht den Heiligen Namen chanten, weil sie es halt einfach dann wahrscheinlich falsch machen.
Okay, thank you, Yamuna. I'll answer in English, just not to expose my deficiency in Schweizerdeutsch. Yeah, thanks for your sincere question. You made many valuable points. We should speak according to our level of realization and being considerate of our audience. So if you talk to a newcomer, to a new person, better to say things that are relatable, that they can agree upon. So not to discuss, it's said that we should not preach the glories of the holy name. We can give people the holy name, but we should not preach about the glories of the holy name. So there's nothing wrong with going out and sharing the chanting with one and all. Some will take it, some will appreciate it, some will not. It's not up to us. We can just do our work, but we're not going to divulge or share intimate details of the chanting or of the practice of Krishna consciousness for the reasons that you have mentioned, so that people don't misunderstand and react inappropriately. But don't be insecure or shy. People are looking for substance. They're looking for the best thing. Otherwise, why are they going to the Glatzentrum and why are they going to all these stores? Because they want the best thing. People are looking for the best thing. So how to communicate the message in a simple way? I found the most successful way is to just make human connection, to just be friendly with them. You just greet them. You say, hi, how are you? How's things going? And then you introduce yourself. You say, I'm such and such. I'm a volunteer. We're sharing this today with all the nice people. And I think you qualify. You just keep it very simple. And then you see their response, their reaction. And then by their reaction, you decide whether you want to continue the talk and the presentation, or you will just say, have a nice day. It was nice meeting you. Goodbye. So you make kind of like a pre-selection before you get into more advanced topics. Sometimes you look at people and immediately understand it's not going to work because either they ignore you, or I hope this is not too technical, but Krishna will show you, he will guide you how far and how much you want to share with people. One good thing is if you give Prabhupada books that Prabhupada has presented the philosophy in such a way that the person cannot actually make offenses, because he has given it in a very systematic way, building up the science of Krishna consciousness. So if they just read a line or a sentence, their life can change. They become touched, they become impacted, as our lives have changed. So try it out, but best is if you go with other devotees who are more experienced, because to do it on your own, when you have never done something, is a little frightening. Like when the pandemic started, they asked me if I could cook for the deities. And I said, well, I already cook for deities, but you expect me to do Raj Bhog offering for Radhamadan Mohan? And they said, well, you can just do Khichdi. And I'm like, hey, this is my Lord. I'm not just going to do Khichdi for my Lord. I got to do better than that. But I got a little frightened because I had never cooked the full lunch offering. But if you assist others who are doing it, then it becomes very easy to learn it. So just go out with other devotees and watch them and listen. And in this way, you'll pick up all the insights of how it works. So don't get discouraged. It's a wonderful way of sharing Krishna consciousness by giving them a book of Prabhupada. And just speak according to your level of realization. Just tell them, it's a nice book. You're a nice person. It's a good combination. Huh? Okay, try it out. All right, Mike. You're welcome.
Well, I have just comment, not really a question, but it's just a realization, and it kind of includes what you were talking about. It's just like I feel that I've been into Krishna consciousness for a while, and now I feel that other people are kind of little miserable without it, actually, like around me. Like somebody today came up to me and was telling me this story and how she's like depressed and has problems with this and that, and it seems like she's got like no like know-how to have like a happy life. And it seems like everybody's kind of like that, actually, who's not into Krishna consciousness. And it seems like people who aren't really into it are kind of have such a miserable life. And
thank you. Yeah, that's a reality. I mean, it's a fact of life. It's not just theory.
It's really like a big gap, and I feel bad for them because either they're really angry or they're trying to be nice because I'm nice with them, but they're really like, it seems like most of the time they're like really not, and they're either at work or trying to drink it away. So it's really like striking, and it really inspired me because I mean, less and less we have the like happiness and like things that go out of the ordinary, and like something more colorful in the about the daily life. So I think it would be really, it's really like such a brilliant thing to have kirtan and distribution, because it's just a whole dimension that's like the opposite of this world or certain places.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing your heart with us. I fully second all your reflections.
Okay.
And
thanks.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, we got 24 people here. If everybody, finds another few people, all of a sudden you got a few hundred people out there. I'm here in Iskana, Silicon Valley, Mountain View, and there is 0 resident devotees in the temple. There is 0 brahmacharis. But there's a congregation of 400 or 500 families, and many of them engage themselves in Sankirtan. And there's a big impact. It's the biggest temple in North America as far as book distribution goes, and as far as outreach goes in many ways. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but I'm just saying, we can either see what's missing or we can see the asset. So what do you rather have, tragedy or opportunity? Like now during the pandemic, few things got more difficult or impossible, right? But some other things opened up. So we have quite a big opportunity that we can avail ourselves of. And it's really up to us how we play it, whether we see this as an opportunity or as a tragedy. In one way, people are quite comfortable and quite stuck in their situations. In another way, as you've mentioned, people are really not feeling the bliss. They're really depressed and anxious and miserable. So how to share the message in a way that's not condescending, nicht herablassend, not insulting, and not irrelevant. That means I really have to be authentic in my practice. Otherwise, people will not be able to connect. They won't be able to appreciate it. But believe it or not, even though if sometimes we're trying to obstruct the sun is always there and it's always visible. So we can't really screw up in that way. No one's powerful enough because the process works. The process works. The farmer has faith in the potency of nature. He knows these seeds will grow fruit. And that's why he's not insecure. He's not thinking like, oh yeah, why am I spending all this time, doing all this hard work? He knows there will be fruits. So have faith in the process, and Krishna will empower you to be part of that solution. So try to extend yourself according to your capacity. You all have unique talents. Like I see here many old friends. Haribol Gori, good to see you. Nayana Manjari and Dina Dayal and, Bhakta Labia, I've already mentioned. So a lot of old folks, old timers who have been doing it for such a long time. You may say, I can't do anything. Well, what can you do? Figure out what you can do. Okay, you can cook. I have a friend in New York. He wanted to create a new preaching program, and he was thinking really hard because New Yorkers are a little arrogant. They're unimpressionable. They're a bit self-absorbed and loud. So he thought how to make this program successful. And after a long while, he realized that there was really nothing that would impress them, but he had one devotee in his group whose mom was a real great cook. So the theme of his program was Italian prasadam. And that program became the most successful preaching program that he ever had. People would just show up once a week to get that prasad. And along with it, of course, came instructions and came association and came service. And many devotees came from that program. So whatever it is that you can do, you do that for Krishna. And you'll be surprised. Krishna will do the magic. And that's what Krishna told Arjuna. You be you, okay? So you be Mike. You don't gotta be, the Novinsky or this guy or that guy. You just be you, and you do what you can do for Krishna. That's Bhagavad Gita 101. Okay, Lucas, you got your hand up for a long time.
Yeah, it's getting tiring. So many nice points to reflect upon, but one that stuck with me, and you didn't really go into depth, was about meeting Prabhupada, first of all in the books, but then on the streets. What did you mean by that? Like, how can we meet Prabhupada on the street? And maybe a follow-up question, once we meet Prabhupada on the street, then how to find Krishna, like on the street, while doing books?
Well, that's a highly esoteric question that will require you to buy the premium version of this broadcast. So what can I say? Bhakti, it's a matter of the heart. And in matters of the heart, you can't play things safe. It's not a theoretical, abstract thing. You have to actually go all in. You have to actually, give your heart. Shraddha. Shraddha shabde vishwash kohe sudrida nishchoy sarva karma krita hoy. Shraddha means to give your heart. You have to be willing to give your heart. Spitzli Herzblut. So if people ask you, what's the price? You say the price is sincerity. Can you afford it? You have to give a little bit of your heart. That means a little bit of your time and of your sincerity. And people will reciprocate. They will respond with that. In a similar way, I'm trying to capture Krishna, who is evasive, who is elusive, who is trying to stay away. But I'm trying to capture him. I'm trying to tie him up with my loving devotional attention. And what's the secret of success? I would say sheer desperation. You got to be desperate. I want this. I want this more than anything else. I really want this bad. Martin Luther King said that if you have nothing you're ready to die for, you got nothing to live for. So what is it that you're ready to die for? I mean, we're not asking you, to become a martyr and, to do anything stupid or drastic. I'm just saying, what gets you out of bed? La raison d'être. What's your reason to live, to exist? What gets you going? If it's just breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's maybe not a good enough reason. So what is your driving force? Meditate a little bit along those lines of purpose and mission, and then you will see so many good ideas come up. just not during chanting, okay? Chanting, you just chant and hear. Then later on, you do the planning and the execution. So, all right, work along those lines. And remember, Sankirtan is a team effort. There has been people who have been stronger, faster, and smarter than any one of us put together. All of us put together. They jumped higher, they ran faster, but they're not here today. Why? Many of them were not team players. Sankirtan is a team sport, it's a team effort. You have to be able to pass the ball, pass the mic, empower others. Stafettenlauf. You got to give over the baton. You got to give over the stick to the next person. Don't think it's about me. I'm the guy. It's about me. If it's about you, it will die with you. We're only here for a few afternoons. So empower the next generation. There's so many brilliant people who are already here in our congregation. I'm looking at many of them, and you know many more. And so you empower them, you serve them. That's the same thing that Prabhupada did. That's parampara. You saw those videos, 26th Avenue, all these stoned out hippies in New York, you know, completely goners on LSD and whatnot. Prabhupada treated every single person who walked in the door like they would be the future leaders of the Hare Krishna movement. Guess what happened? They became the future leaders of the Hare Krishna movement. So in a similar way, if we treat each other and everyone who comes as there's potential, there's Krishna's potential there, then Krishna will do the magic. Okay, Shugi.
Yes, I'm sorry. Hare Krishna. I have a question about yeah, sometimes I experience sometimes like if you there is a block sometimes, like if you become really transparent, then when you're connected with Paramatma Krishna, and then it's like then it flows the preaching, then you're speaking words which you actually are not even expecting or whatever, no, like these are the moments when Paramatma is taking control or whatever. And so what is the wall which is stopping us actually to become this transparent instrument of Guru and Krishna? Is
It's
there
our
any
own false
prayers?
ego. It's just our own presumptuousness, our own false ego, our own insecurity. He who hesitates is lost. If you start thinking and overthinking, then nothing happens. I was in Miami on South Beach, which is like, anyway, I don't want to make any comparisons, but it's a zoo down there. It's really wild. So I met two businessmen, and they were middle-aged, they were well-dressed, they wore all the right clothes, all the right jewelry, and they were having a very animated discussion. But I wanted to give them a book. So I walked up to them, and I didn't know what to say, because to interrupt their conversation would be kind of impolite. So what do you do when you don't know what to do? That's that moment of truth, right? That moment of anxiety of like, so I just, you just have to say a little prayer to Krishna, and then whatever Krishna inspires you to say, you do. So I walked up to them and I said, I know it's difficult to be humble when you're 6'3" and 53 years old. And the guy looked at me and he said, do you know me? Have you been following me? And he got really freaked out. And I told him, dude, I'm 6'3" and I'm 53 years old. So, and he said, so am I. And then we both started laughing. And then I handed him some books and he gave a donation, and nothing more needed to be said. The point that I'm making is that being an instrument of Krishna's compassion is the highest form of intimacy. So, but if you're at the tip of the arrow, there is some friction and some heat. So don't mind. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, okay? If you dread a little bit of hard work, then this may not be for you. It requires a little bit of effort. So if you want a cozy, peaceful, calm life, don't go on Sankirtan, okay? Just like if you want to keep up your misconceptions about who you are, and all the conspiracies and all the controversies and all that other stuff that you're so preoccupied with, then don't go to the bank of the Jamuna and meet Shyama Sundar, because it will ruin it for you. It will just totally blow your mind. It will just put all that stuff right out the window. And you will see that it's all just a bunch of hot air. It's just totally meaningless. Ultimately, the only thing that's meaningful is to receive and share Krishna's love. That's the only thing that has purpose in this world. The rest is just decoration. It's just icing on the cake, okay? So, what we need, Sangha, we need the association of like-minded individuals. That's why I'm very happy to see that there is not just youth Sangha, but there is also, you know, senior citizen Sangha and other types of Sanghas, and you're bringing the group together, and people feel, yeah, there's a way forward. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of people in right next around where I live. Like, you got 8 million there. I got 8 million here in the Bay Area, just around the Bay, you know, there's 8 million here. And so there's a lot of work to be done. And when we realize that the work is bigger than I and you can ever accomplish, then you think, okay, how can I build a team? How can I attract others? How can I help them? How can I empower them? How can I serve them? Why is Srimati Radharani capable of stealing Krishna's mind? Yes, she's the most beautiful. Yes, she's the most skilled. Yes, she's the most everything. But for the most part, because she's the most expert in bringing all living entities to Krishna and connecting them to Krishna's service. That's what captures Krishna's mind. And that's why Krishna is mad after Srimati Radharani. So don't try to see God. Try to act in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. So try out this little Sankirtan experiment. I guarantee you, your life will never be the same. You may lose a few misconceptions and a few hairs and a few worries, but that's okay. That's okay. It's well worth it. If you want to see the magic, yeah, you can go to the movies and you know, you buy a few candies, but after a while, that gets old. You've done that. It's not so exciting anymore. You can sit on your sofa and eat 2 liters of ice cream and watch Netflix, but that gets a little boring. So then if you really want to see the magic, you got to go out there and meet the people where they're at. And Krishna will reveal to you in a glimpse a little bit of his plan. And that's quite impressive. That's quite heart-changing. Huh? I was in Tucson, Arizona, at the biggest gem and mineral fair of the country, or probably of the world, with hundreds of vendors and tens of thousands of people who came. And in a big hall, there was a Russian guy. He had 3 different shops in different places. Big guy. So I showed him the books and he said, yeah, Veda, I already know this, Bhagavad Gita. I said, I know you know, but it's for your team. So you just keep these books and you give whatever you like. And so he went to his office and he came back and he held out his hands like this. And he asked me, guess what I have in my hands? And I mean, it could have been anything, right? It could have been crystals. It could have been money. It could have been whatever. So I looked him in the eye and without blinking an eyelid, I said, it's $108. The same spirit that's in your heart is also in my heart. And if you read these books, you'll learn the art of connecting to that spirit. So he opened his hands and he gave me the $108. And I gave him a hug and nothing else needed to be said. The point I'm trying to make here is that each and every one of us, you got that special gift. Everybody got that potential. It's not that there's a few chosen ones and we're just the miserable ones who are just going to struggle our whole life. Krishna can empower each and every one of us according to our capacity and according to our surrender. And to our degree, to our capacity, that will be perfection. That will be 100%. So don't worry about what other people do. Sometimes we get a little competitive. We start looking at other people's results or achievements. I don't know if this ever happens to you or if it's just me. And then you think like, I'm useless, you know, I'm not doing nothing. Huh? So don't beat yourself up. Just be you and do what you can do. And that will be perfect. Krishna has made us that way. Krishna loves us that way. So don't get freaked out about what others are or are not doing, and just become a happy devotee. Don't try to be a great devotee. Just try to be a good devotee. Just be sincere. Any other questions? So what's the next step? How do we move forward? Okay, you got to organize yourself. I mean, you got to have good sadhana. You got to get books. You got to show the books to people, and you got to get organized. These are the 4 laws, okay? Where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, you got on this Zoom call, not because, somebody will disown you, or you won't get any Mangal sweets tomorrow if you don't check in. There has to be some sort of personal initiative, some desire that, yes, I would like to experience some of that. I mean, or you can just say, hey, it's just some crazy guy from California talking, and it really doesn't mean anything to me. So it's our choice how we play it. For me personally, I've met amazing people. When I came to the temple, I met people like Rohini Sutta Prabhu, Harinamananda, and others, and they gave me the time of the day. They gave me their quality time, their affection. They raised me. And it was a life-changing experience to meet people who are truly selfless, who are non-envious, who are magnanimous. And that experience is still available. It's not that we're just living in nostalgia and talking about the good old times, because they weren't so good all the time, It's been a struggle, as it is a struggle now. But it's a sweet struggle. It's called sweet surrender, that voluntarily I'm trying to do the best I can, and I'm ready to be an instrument in Krishna's hands. And that will be very beautiful. When Krishna plays his Sankirtan pastime, and he allows us to be part of it. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates were in Jagannath Puri, and at the Ratha Yatra, there were 7 kirtan groups around the Rath. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally danced in each and every one of those 7 groups. Very few of the devotees could see that. Only the very intimate devotees could see that. All the others thought, he's only dancing in my group. But some could see him dance in all the 7 groups. So I'm personally very fortunate and blessed that I have people who are kind and friendly towards me and shower affection on me. And I would like you to seek out your mentors, your guides, your inspiration in Krishna consciousness. Don't sell yourself short. Don't think it's just about my God and my guru and my deity, and screw the rest of the planet, because that doesn't work. That will not get you in that Sankirtan mood, in that mood of sharing kindness and helping people to grow in their bhakti. So thank you for allowing me to be with you without actually being there. So I feel honored and humbled by your sincerity and your service attitude. And I'm confident that the best years are yet to come. There's a lot of potential. It's a very fertile soil. Krishna has given you a great opportunity. Use it or lose it. If we don't appreciate something, technically, we don't have it. You may have millions of francs, but if you don't appreciate it, actually you have nothing. In a similar way, we have got so much opportunity, but if we don't appreciate it, if we can't avail ourselves of it, then technically speaking, we're actually poor. And I close with a little story. I got 2 minutes left. I was in Rishikesh. Every year we went there with 12 or 15 friends to do chanting on the streets of Rishikesh. And we were doing chanting right where the bridge, the Lakshman Jhula, landed. So it's a small bridge. It's just foot traffic bridge. So we were just stopped the whole traffic, and people got so absorbed and ecstatic in the chanting that nothing moved. It literally just shut down the whole traffic. And the surrounding area there's some steps, and there's German bakery and a few stores and a few vendors. So there was one professional beggar. He was sitting there with his metal cup, and not a sadhu, just is his job. But after a while of watching our kirtan, he got a little bored. He got a little tired of being a beggar. So he just picked up his cup and put it in his pocket, and he came down and he joined the kirtan. And after a while, he was chanting and dancing very exuberantly with us. And after some more time, he got so ecstatic that he reached into his kurta pocket and he took out a whole stack of notes, all like 10 and 20 rupee notes. And he waved it around and he showed everybody his money. And then he started putting money into the pockets of all the devotees. And he was showing to everybody, look at me. I'm not a beggar. I'm a generous person. So when you give somebody a book and you ask them for a donation, we don't need their money, because Krishna is the wealthiest person. We want to give them the opportunity to feel wealthy, because to be able to give for a spiritual cause is the greatest opportunity, and it is the greatest wealth. So by going on Sankirtan and accepting people's contributions, however small they may be, you're giving people the opportunity of turning them from beggars into the most magnanimous, the most charitable people. And once they have started that process of giving, they will like it again, and they will want to give again, because it's just such a good feeling. It just feels great. We were in Palo Alto, and one man, he got 3 books, and I said, give anything you want. So he gave $1, and he walked down the street, and after 3 minutes, he came back, and he gave me $10, because Paramatma told him, hey, you idiot, you should give him more, you know? And so he came walking back. So Krishna is your Sankirtan partner. You want to go out and meet Krishna every day of your life? You want to meet Prabhupada? You want to feel what Prabhupada felt when he walked off the Jaladuta and stepped onto American soil? He didn't know, turn left, turn right. He had no clue. But that moment, that feeling of dependency, that feeling of helplessness, that feeling of humility is there when you read Prabhupada's prayers, Markine Bhagavad Dharma, that prayers that he wrote on the Jaladuta. That's part of your homework also. You can read that one. It's right there on the list. If you ever feel a little depressed or melancholic because you got the blues, then read that prayers of Prabhupada on the Jaladuta. And I guarantee you will lighten up and you will feel the ecstasy. So if you want to feel what Prabhupada felt when he arrived in America, then do the same. Just pick up some books, walk out the street into the great unknown, start smiling at people. And you'll be surprised. People will look at you and say, where have you been all my life? You know, that will happen. I guarantee you. And then you can either give them your business card and your social media, or you can give them a book, or you can give them both. But try to give them Krishna, okay? Take yourself out of the center, and Krishna will do the magic. So thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. It's being very heartwarming to see how the seva and the preaching is going on in Switzerland, and it is expanding. And I'm very positive. I'm a long-term optimist and a short-term realist. I'm very optimistic to see that many good things are yet to come. So think in terms of vision, training, and empowerment, okay? And you will see the magic will happen. Krishna will empower you. All right, to be continued. I got to get out there because the kids are waiting. Otherwise, they do stupid stuff, okay? So thank you very much. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. And I wish you a happy Sankirtan, happy Kartik. And yeah, please say a little prayer for this fool that I can get out of the exile of California. So to be continued. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasnubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananti Koti Vaishnavarinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
He's
Hare
great.
Krishna. Thank you, Damodar Prasad, for
Prabhu,
taking
keep jai.
the burden of love, of shouldering the responsibility, and yeah, build your team and put Switzerland back on the map of Sankirtan. Otherwise, you know, countries like Mozambique and Uganda will leave you in the dust. How can the Swiss ego tolerate that? That, you know, others are doing more. No? Just gather your troops, gather your ideas. There's so much potential. There's so much vibrancy. There's so much opportunity. It's unbelievable. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Lange Rede, kurzer Sinn. It's time. Actions speak louder than words.
Thank you so much, Navina Nirada, Prabhu.
I woke up my appetite. I will have my second breakfast, and then I already had my nap. So going out there and doing what needs doing. Stay blissful, stay happy, and share your heart with others. It's truly what makes a difference in life. When you have that moment of truth where people look at you like, are you for real, or are you just bullshitting me? Are you just trying to sell me a product, or you actually real? It's that moment that makes the difference. And we can experience that moment every day of our lives when we choose to have that Prabhupada moment, to be an instrument of Prabhupada's compassion. I don't have it in me. I'm not that kind of caring and that kind of selfless person, but I know somebody who is. I know my guru is. I know Prabhupada is. I know my acharyas are. So by absorbing ourselves in their mood, we can become empowered. Yasyadeve parabhaktir yatadeve tatagurau tasyaite katitahi arta prakashante mahatmana. When you please your spiritual teachers, then the zip file will unzip in your heart, and all the imports of all these great books will become revealed in your heart and mind. That would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? I mean, you still have to do Bhakti Shastri and Bhakta course and, you know, whatever courses are out there. You still got to do that. but that's the shortcut, okay? I just told you the shortcut. You may not be qualified, but Prabhupada says, I have a key to the back door of the spiritual world. You may not have any qualification, but if you stick with Prabhupada, he can get you in. Okay? So thank you all.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. And I'll send you the info and you can pass it on.
I found it.
You found it?
Yeah.
Okay. There's the graduate course on book distribution and there is Sankirtan leadership. There's 2 courses.
Oh, this I didn't find. Yeah.
Sankirtan leadership.
This, if you can send this one.
Sure. Sure.
Navina Nirada Prabhu, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate
all right. Eat some rösti and some raclette for me. And yeah, stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't howl at the moon and just be miserable. The best years are yet to come. Just be blissful and do something for the Sankirtan. I mean, people are out there, they have appreciation, they have taste for good things. They got some good karma there. So keep doing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
His Grace Navina Nirada Prabhu ki jai. Ki jai. Dear devotees, please wait for just 1-2 minutes. Lucas and me, we would like to just make a few announcements. First of all, I would like to thank all of you that you came. Especially, I want to thank His Grace Bhakti Labhya Prabhu for taking the time. Actually, we would like to invite you also. One time, we would like to do this now every week, every Tuesday night. So next week, we already have a speaker, but maybe one of the weeks after. Then Nayana Manjri Mataji, thank you for joining. From Serbia, yeah, you're in Serbia. And who else? Yeah, all the devotees. Chaini Tai Prabhu. Can you hear me? He cannot hear me. Okay, then.
Haribol, I can hear you.
Haribol, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol, yeah, thank you for inviting me to be there. It was very inspiring. And I hope I can come next week.
Yes, please join us. Okay, Lucas, please enlighten us.
Yeah. So, like Navina Nirada Prabhu was saying, actions speak louder than words. So we have to put into practice what we heard. And of course, we as temple devotees, we see it as our duty to facilitate as much as we can. And so this Saturday, we actually want to make Saturdays the days where everyone can come and join us and we go on Sankirtan together. Make it a team effort. And so this Saturday also we want to go out. So if you're free and you're inspired and you'd like to get some taste of Sankirtan, then please do not hesitate and join us. We have a WhatsApp group where we will have the further announcements and details for these programs. So I think you can either reach out to Damodar Prabhu or me also, and we can put you in this chat. And this way you will stay in touch with us, you see what is happening, and you get all the informations. And like Damodar Prabhu was saying also, that each week we will have a lecture like this. So I'm really, really happy that so many of you came today, and I hope you can also come future Tuesdays. And Damodar Prabhu is just now telling us who is there for next week's evening lecture.
Okay, thank you, Lucas. I just sent the link for the WhatsApp group in the chat. So if you didn't yet join, you can use this link and join. And also, if you cannot come to Zurich on Saturday, but you still want to distribute books, you can do it anywhere, really. You can do it. Maybe Mike, you want to do it in French-speaking part of Switzerland, or somebody else, or Nayana Manji, maybe you want to go out in Serbia. So it won't be practical for you to come all the way here. So you can just go wherever you are. Then for next week, Tuesday, I'm really happy to announce another really nice guest. He's a devotee who normally lives in Mayapur, but at the moment is in Russia. His name is Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu. He's originally from Brazil, and he's actually one of the greatest book distributors in ISKCON worldwide. I just quickly checked the World Sankirtan newsletter, and there I saw in the year 2017, he was the world #1 book distributor. And he distributed, now you have to listen carefully, he distributed 78,936 book points. So I calculated that, and this comes to 3,289 book points in a month, which is around 109 Bhagavad Gitas in a day, every day in a year. So he's a great book distributor, and we have a really nice connection with him, because when we were in Mayapur last time, we just happened to be his neighbor. And at that time, he was writing a book on book distribution. And he's very humble devotee. So he was asking if I know somebody who can help him with editing the book. And at that time, Bhakta Steve, many of you know him. It's Suri's neighbor, basically, or flatmate. He then did the job of editing his book, Getting the Mercy is the name. And I will send you the link on WhatsApp so you can maybe have a read. And he's not only a book distributor, but he's really a nice preacher. He's appreciated all over the world for his he's very Brahminical, and he's also doing a lot of online preaching. So please join us next week on Tuesday, same time, same place. We'll send you the link. So that's from my side. I don't want to hold you up. Then hopefully see you on Saturday, and if not, then latest next Tuesday. Have a nice Kartik, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Bob and Nico, huh? Association for the Devotees never follow. Aber ich werde jetzt gleich beenden, sorry. Bis bald, Haribol.